With a new puppy in the house, it can be hard to get a good night's sleep, but we're going to talk today about a bedtime routine that is going to help ensure that your puppy learns how to sleep through the night. That's what we're talking about on the McCann Dogs podcast. Well, I have to ask, did you get a good night's sleep last night?
Yeah, actually, I did get a good night's sleep last night.
Nice.
I did, which is unusual because often Thursday nights I'm up late and then I get up early and I find I lay awake thinking about getting up early. So
See, it's a vicious cycle.
I did get a good night's sleep. Now, about now? You have a puppy.
I have a
Did you
puppy.
get a good night's sleep?
I actually got a great night's sleep last night. Thank you for asking. Yeah, and we're talking about our night's sleep last night because we want to make sure that everybody gets a good night's sleep, even if you have a puppy. So today on the podcast, we are talking all about getting a good night's sleep when you have a puppy. So
yes,
some of the things that I do with Levon specifically before we bed down for the evening are very specific to him. But most of the things that I do with him are sort of tried and tested things that we can generalize for everybody. So I thought that would be a good thing to talk about today.
Yes, definitely. Because the first few nights when you bring a puppy home, it's not unusual to not get a good night's sleep. So do expect, let all the children in your house know, everyone in your family know that, you know what, the first few nights we're going to have a bad night's sleep, and that's to be expected. But there are definitely things that are going to help get your puppy settled and getting into that routine of, you know what, this is when we have that big sleep.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really interesting because if you've ever watched puppies in a litter, you'll see that they sort of wake up at random times up until a certain point. They start to age away from that, but they still were, like I watched Levon's litter on webcam for weeks. I think I talked about my nails growing long and my hair growing long because all I did was sit in front of the computer staring at these
there
puppies.
was no work done.
There was nobody saw Shannon for weeks. It was like 6 weeks. Shannon was just gone. No, as I was studying these guys, and like I've never raised a litter, so this is an age that I really don't have a lot of experience with, but it was really interesting to me watching what times they woke up at, what times they were like, we're hungry. And then of course mom would come in and she would relax with them and they would all nurse and until they were weaned away from her. But then they were still waking up and having little plays and things like that. I tend to be a really early riser. So a lot of the times I was up at like 4 a.m. just staring at my phone.
You were watching the puppies at 4 a.m.?
Oh yeah, a lot of times. Initially,
you did not tell me that. That is obsessive.
Yeah, it is. Initially, I said to the breeder, like, I feel so intrusive being like in your home at 4 a.m. And she was like, it's okay.
I guess you saw them
set up for.
You saw her coming in too, I guess.
Yeah, wandering in and out. Well, I mean, she was conscious that there's a video camera recording everything all the time, or like a webcam.
Right, yeah, because people pay to watch stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. No, I didn't catch any impromptu moments, so she must have been aware. But yeah, so watching them, they would wake up at odd times, and they would be seeking attention, comfort, play, food, whatever the thing was that need was. And that carries over when they come home, of course. They don't just suddenly, most of the time. I mean, sometimes you get really lucky and you get a puppy that sleeps through the night right away and you're like, wow.
Or if you get a bit of an older puppy.
Yeah.
Sometimes, yes.
Yeah. You're right. You're right on the money there. I'm thinking about, 8 weeks when you typically bring home a puppy, 8 or 9 weeks, they'll often not sleep through the night. But if you bring home a puppy that's 12 weeks old, I would expect that puppy to sleep through the night right away.
That's
so unless it's
one of the nicer things about an older puppy.
Yeah.
I got a Tari at 14 weeks, and I remember, letting Ty know that, she might cry, and put her in the crate and didn't hear from her again until 8 hours later. And it's like, bonus.
Yeah, excellent. Yes. Was Ty disappointed? Was he excited to like get up and hear things in the middle of the night?
No. I think he was glad. Now she did in the morning. She did howl when she woke up. There was no whining. It was just this which was funny. Which was more funny. So
that is funny. I don't think I ever heard her howl.
I only heard her howls as a young puppy, and it was basically instead of whining or crying in the crate, she howled in the crate.
It's so funny when the back room gets going with a howl.
Yes.
Our crate room, our back crate room where all the dogs rest when they're not working with us or being used to demonstrate classes or whatever the case may be while we're working, and they're not involved in it. They're in our back crate room, which is purpose-built for their comfort. They have a lovely life. A lot of the times I come into work and I think, I might go in that crate, take a nap. You go to work for me.
Yeah, there's the McCann music channel in the background.
Yep,
and
absolutely.
It's dimly lit, so they can snooze.
For ambiance.
Right, yeah.
No, climate control.
Right.
And
Yep.
So nice. But yeah, a lot of the times, well, not a lot of the times, every so often, there'll be a communal howling that goes on. And one dog will start that. Ooh, and it's so cool to hear all the rest of the dogs join in on this. Ooh, you got to howl along with me so it sounds like a bunch of dogs. That was like a really sad howler.
Yes.
I actually do the same with listening to the coyotes on my property as well.
Yeah.
Like they're usually way back in the bush. I haven't seen any, so it's good. There's lots and lots of action, but they don't come around. They keep their distance, which is exactly what you want.
They don't come around here no more.
That's what I want with my coyotes, is that they don't come around here no more. I didn't really know your song, so I had to put my own spin on it.
It's Petty. Tom
Petty.
Tom Petty, yeah.
Okay.
Don't come around here no more.
Huh. Not sure if I know that one or not, but
looking for. I can't remember the rest. Now I'm gonna have to go listen to it. I know it, but I can't think. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So I'll hear them there's usually a howl to start with, and it's sort of like the call to arms, and then you hear the whole pack join in with their warbles as they're off hunting and doing their thing. Sometimes the hair on the back of my neck stands up a little bit listening to it, but I find it so fascinating. Right. It's really cool.
Yes.
So anyways, besides that howling in the middle of the night thing, so it's typical for puppies to have those rhythms in their body, right? Like they're still very young. They're still on these schedules where they might want to eat more often, et cetera. They might need to go to the bathroom more often, et cetera. So sometimes we need to get up in the middle of the night to meet those needs. Yes. And that is completely understandable with a young puppy who's 8 weeks old, who still hasn't learned how to control their bladder long enough. Right. I mean, they definitely will be able to go longer during sleep. To hold
just
their bladder.
Just like we can, yes.
Exactly, yeah. Things slow down. Things slow down so that we can sleep through the night. And they're the same with the puppies once they get to that point where we're pushing that a little bit. Right, so there is a full night's sleep as a hopeful. I usually get within the first week, I usually find that I'm sleeping through the night. And then, first thing in the morning, taking the puppy out and dealing with things, making sure that they haven't, they're not ready to burst first thing in the morning.
Speaking of having to pee in the middle of the night,
oh, I always do.
Yeah, I've become addicted to. I don't usually, but I've become addicted to mixing orange juice and milk together.
Oh,
so I do half orange juice, half milk, and then a spoon or two of sugar.
Is that like a creamsicle?
And it's it's a creamsicle. It tastes like an orange creamsicle. So instead of chocolate milk, this is what I'm drinking now. So I drank a great big glass of it before I went to bed the other night. I had to get up twice. I was like a baby puppy.
Yeah. You set yourself up wrong.
Take my milk and orange juice away from me.
You set yourself up for failure. Yes. So you know what? Actually, on that note, let's talk about one of our things to talk about today is the potty routine for bedtime.
Okay.
So you set yourself up for failure by drinking a tall glass of creamsicle right before going to bed.
Exactly.
I wonder how many people are going to be trying this recipe now,
it's so good. So half and half, couple of spoons of sugar, and if you like, you can also put a teaspoon of vanilla extract in it, and that does add some extra flavor. So definitely, it's delicious.
Interesting.
Yes. Sometimes I put a little bit less orange juice in, and so it's a little bit creamier, but it's up to you.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I'm not a big orange fan, so maybe I'll try that with something else. But at any rate, I probably won't. I don't really drink milk, and I don't really drink orange juice. I don't actually really like creamsicle flavor either.
You don't? Oh, I exist
not
off
orange one.
I exist off the creamsicle flavor.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go. This is the perfect drink for you. Right, but I might try a variation, and I'll report back on my recipe. Okay. I'll let you know how it goes. All right. So why did you set yourself up for failure?
Because I had a drink before I went to bed.
And not just a drink, but a big drink.
A big drink. A big drink. So, and it was also sugary, a sugary drink.
There you go. It's hard to go to sleep with sugar.
Right. Yes.
So no creamsicle concoctions for puppies.
No.
But with our puppies, how long before you put them down for their full night's sleep do you offer them a drink?
With a brand new puppy, usually about 2 hours I pick up before we go to bed, I pick up their water. If something happens and, we stay up later and the puppy's, been zooming all around, I might offer them a tiny drink, but I'm not going to put down an entire bowl of water.
Yeah.
Some puppies will tank up on their water for the sake of tanking up. I've seen some dogs that think they have to finish the bowl of water.
Yes.
So I'm very cautious with water when I have a brand new puppy that's going to bed.
I agree with you. And I actually don't leave water down for my puppies at any point. I will frequently offer them water, but I like to make sure that I can make a mental note of what time they've drunk. So I feel like I might miss it if they had the water bowl available to them, like in their crate, for example. But Levon's at the point now where now I am leaving water with him all the time. So he is now much more casual about water because it's not something that he's ever not with. Like it's not something he ever doesn't have access to now. So he's kind of like, oh, okay, I can take a couple of little sips and then move away and I don't have to worry about, filling myself full. So a lot of the times that transition sort of happens naturally.
And I would never put water in the crate overnight too.
Good call.
Because the puppy can lay awake and I don't know, at night, drinks just seem to go right through you quicker, it seems. So
I'll tell a story. This is so funny because my first dog was a Rottweiler, and of course we were just learning. We got her in 99 and really knew nothing about raising a dog. So before we got into classes, we did have a water bowl in her crate. It was like a coop cup sort of deal in her crate, and we had it down nice and low to the bottom of the crate. And we always talk about how you should minimize the things in your crate because puppies learn sometimes that they can like pee on the blanket and then push it off to the side and sleep comfortably in the section without the wet blanket. And it makes a hard situation for us because we're using the crate in part to help our dogs learn how to control their bladders and how to hold it. So of course, if the puppy has this opportunity to pee on the blanket, push it off to the side and then be comfortable, there's no incentive to hold it. And Quincy, my Rottweiler, what a smart dog. She figured out that she could pee in that water dish and then she would be comfortable. It was like,
wow.
It was like, what is going on here? Why is this water yellowing overnight? And it was like,
who's giving the dog lemonade?
Pee. Okay, that must be a fluke, right? Because how does a dog pee? No, and then it happened again.
Wow.
So we removed the water bowl at that point.
Right.
I can't remember if it was based on advice or if we just realized that it was the right thing to do on our own.
That is pee accuracy as well. Yes.
Yeah, and like for a female too.
Right.
So anyways, that was a really interesting early lesson in the creativity process with pups. Incidentally, we also had her in too big of a crate at that point, so she probably could have had accidents in the crate as well. She just chose her water bowl for some weird reason. But yeah, so I'm about the same. I will offer a drink, note the time on the clock, and by the time I get to night with my puppy after about 2 or 3 days, I know how long that water stays in their system, right? So for example, when Levon first came home, I wouldn't leave it any longer than a half an hour. After he had a drink, within about 30 minutes, I was thinking about taking him out so he could have that pee outside and not have the accident in the house.
Right.
And then I started to push the envelope on that a little bit as time went on. Now he's at the point where he can go quite a while and he knows how to ask to get outside. He's still having an occasional accident because he's a puppy and puppy brains are very fickle. Puppy brains are very distractible. So he'll still have the occasional accident, but I'm always supervising. So I'm always ready to say, oh, no, this isn't the right place. And then we run outside. And now we're at the point where if he starts to squat and I go, nope, he immediately stops himself. Like I don't even have to get in there to physically
So he's gotten much better bladder muscle control.
Exactly. Yes. And I say, oops, no. And he goes, oh, right. And then he runs to the door. Right. So it's just like, he's caught in those moments where he's excited about something and distracted by something and it starts to happen and then he thinks better of it.
Right.
So right off the bat, he's never had a poop accident in the house though. Right off the bat, he would start... So he would get a little bit frantic and start doing puppy burns, but he would also, this is funny, obviously, his hackles would go up.
Oh, yeah.
So I think the sensation in his body made his hackles go up.
Oh,
so in the first couple of days that he was home, and I was like, what's going on, bud? And then that would be the precursor to him pooping. Like
I've never heard of that.
I know, isn't that funny? Yeah. We'd be wandering around the yard and like waiting for him to poop, and I would see his hackles go up, and then he would start puppy burning, and then he would find whatever the spot was and tuck and poop.
Right. Yeah. It's funny how often they do start to puppy burn before they have to go.
Oh my gosh.
I wonder
so funny.
if it's just the sensation in their body, and they don't understand what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and that, like, I've had other puppies that have puppy burned when they need to poop. So I think like that stimulation and that feeling in their body just sets them off.
Starts them going.
And with him, it set off his hackles too. Because I was like, wow. Like the first time I was looking around, I'm like, what do you see that's making
it's like,
up? And then he'd do his puppy burn and poop. So so as soon as
you're starting to get paranoid about your house, is there someone in here with us?
Oh my gosh, stop staring at the wall. Stop it. It's so funny. So I can't remember what we were originally talking about. We've gotten off track with hackles and poop, but so the water being left down is not a good idea with puppies. Once they get to the point where they are asking to go outside, you've got a good schedule with them. They can hold it physically because that's something that we need to make sure is in place, right? We can't just assume that the understanding is going to produce the results. They also need the physical ability.
Right. Yes. It's like a young child that you're potty training.
Yeah, for sure.
You're not going to give them a big glass of juice and then go to bed and say, we're going to get 8 hours. Like, they drink a glass of juice before bed, you're getting up with them.
Yeah, absolutely. So that half an hour window when Levon first came home is now probably like an hour and a half, I would say.
Right. Did you keep a journal? Did you write down things?
Yeah, I always do. And it is a very loose, like scratch pad type journal, but I always want to make notes so that we're humans, right? And the details fade over time. I constantly find myself going, was that yesterday? Was that 2 days ago? What's going on? So now I have this scratch pad of just jotted down notes where, okay, Tuesday, he had that accident on the floor because I left it for this long. Like and I can draw parallels over time. It just really helps me with my process.
I hope you've jotted down that $1 million I lent you that for repayment.
Oh, that's there.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes. Absolutely. I want my money.
Yeah.
I want my money back, Shannon.
Give me my money. Give me my money. I will pay you back. Okay. I promise. Please don't send anybody to break my legs. So, in terms of sleeping through the night, how long do you usually expect to have to get up with the puppy?
Well, I would hope when I bring a brand new puppy home that I can get the first night like 3 or 4 hours out of them, depending on the age. Like if it's a 7-week-old puppy, 3 or 4 hours of sleep. And then if I do have to get up at that point with them, I'm going to make sure that it's very boring. So I'm not going to go, woohoo, puppy. I'm just going to say nothing.
What if the puppy goes, woohoo, Swanee, I'm so excited to see you.
And they do. They do.
Yes, of course.
I'm neutral. I'm neutral to that. It's like, no, shh. So
you do not fall prey to the cute puppy wanting attention.
Yes. So
you're hardcore.
I keep the house as dark as possible. Okay. We go outside. I only say what I need to say, and I'm the most boring person.
Puppy on leash?
Right. Puppy. Oh, yes. Puppy is on leash.
Good.
Yes. I don't want them running off into the dark. Yes. So
you don't want to be playing keep away games at 3 a.m.
No.
in the yard.
So I am complete control of this break. And they go out, they pee, and then I bring them right back in and tuck them right back into bed.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect. Such sound advice for anybody who is working with their puppy. You do not want to make that an attractive thing for the puppy to do. You don't want your puppy thinking, I'm bored. I want to play mate. Wake up, wake up, wake up.
Because they have no idea. Why can't you play in the middle of the night? Like,
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's funny. Levon wasn't feeling well for a day there. He had a little bit of stomach upset, and I was on edge, like every single little whimper. Okay, does he need to go out to go to the bathroom? And he played me several times. Several times he played me because I was anxious that he might need to go to the bathroom. So I would let him out. And instead of going to the door to go outside, he was like, ha, hey, Dad. Hey, how's it going? Like he would go over to visit Dad. And I'd be like, you just played me, you smart little fart. So anyways, we're over that now because, of course, he's over having that little tummy upset. And I'm wise when I'm not emotional and worried about how he's feeling. I'm much wiser, so he wasn't able to play me, but he did play me a few times. So in terms of a nighttime routine, other than not offering them a drink super close to the time where you're going to put them down, do you have specifics in terms of the nighttime routine for potty? Like what time would you take them out as their last time out?
Their last time out? Well, with the puppy, I might stay up a little bit later than normal, just
you're brave.
just to try, to keep them up a bit longer. The moment before we go to bed is their last potty. So I generally, get myself ready for bed. I brush my teeth and do all those things. And then puppy goes out, potties, and then I put them in their crate, finish up the last couple of bedroom routine things for me. And that's lights out after that. So I take them out as late as I possibly can.
Yeah. Good idea. Good idea. That'll save you from having to get up.
Right. Get up earlier. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So with Levon, at this point now, he's at the point where I'll let him out for his last call at around, 9:30. So that generally, so for me, my
Shannon goes to bed pretty early.
That is correct.
Yes.
My nighttime routine is I will relax in front of the TV once it's really late and it's time to fall asleep. And at that point, that's usually the 9:30 mark, and I take him out for a pee.
Have you ever watched the 11 o'clock news?
Oh, heavens no. Well, I mean, you know what? In my youth, I used to be a night person. Yeah. I really was a night owl, but as I grew, I became a morning person.
Right.
And no, 11 o'clock news, I didn't even does news happen at 11 o'clock? I'm a 6 a.m. news kind of girl.
Right, yes. And no news happened in the middle of the night.
Exactly.
Well, I guess news happens in the middle of the night.
It does, unfortunately. It does. It would be nice if we all just woke up to calm or good news every morning, but it seems like there's a lot of not so nice news to wake up to these days. So, my routine is that I will sit down on the couch with, an iPad, sometimes maybe play a little silly game that just turns my brain off, have the TV on, watching whatever, and I fall asleep on the couch. So that generally happens about 9:30, and I had been taking him out at 9:30 and then falling asleep on the couch, and then of course I wake up at midnight, 1 a.m. and go to bed. That's my routine. It's just what I do.
Right.
We all have our routines.
Yes.
So then I was taking him out at that midnight, 1 a.m. So he would have a final pee, and then I would put him in the bedroom crate, and we would both go to sleep until morning, and I was waking him up in the morning, which was perfect. So now we're at the point where I will let him out for that last pee at 9:30, and when I wake up at midnight, we just go to bed. So he is able to hold it now for that entire duration. He's 18. Yeah, he turned 18 weeks on Wednesday. So, he's quite removed. He's 10 weeks older than that 8-week puppy mark. So his bladder is capable of holding it now. It's not stressful for him. I still wake him up in the morning to go outside. He's not waking up earlier because he didn't get that pee at midnight.
Right.
So we're now at the point where he's going a solid 8 hours through the night without having to wake up for really any reason at all. And it is marvelous.
Yes.
Marvelous.
Yes.
But there's a couple of other things that are important for your evening routine as well.
So what other things have you been doing with them?
Yeah. I mean, there's lots of mental and physical and calming rituals that I do as well. And a lot of the times this is counterintuitive for people because they think that it's all about physically tiring their puppy. So what happens, we accidentally shoot ourselves in the foot because we think, okay, I need to drain energy out of this puppy. I need to go hard with this puppy and retrieve 8 million times or run around the house 8 million times. And then what happens is the puppy gets adrenalized. The puppy gets used to feeling over-adrenalized. The puppy often ends up being overstimulated, which of course counteracts them relaxing and feeling calm and feeling ready for bed.
Right.
So we actually make our jobs much more difficult by trying to tire the puppy out physically.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So there's definitely physical involvement. Puppies need to play. They need to run. They need to get out this physical energy, but it's not as much as people expect.
Yes.
People often overdo it and then they create these bad situations.
Right. They create a little athlete. Yes.
Exactly. Well, and they create the overstimulation in that moment. So now the puppy is, and then they think they need to exercise the puppy more because the puppy's still wild.
Right.
So now they're throwing more and more exercise. They're creating more overstimulation. It's just a recipe for disaster.
I think where you're heading is on Thursday nights here at McCann's, I teach classes late at night, in-person classes. And our last class wraps up at 9:30 p.m. And students, we stay and chat with the students and, just answer questions and, you get to know the students. So you like to find out what's happening. So by the time the students leave, I'm leaving here sometimes at 10 o'clock at night. And then I drive home and I'm still very stimulated by everything that's gone on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yes, so I go to bed and I'm wide awake because I'm very, very stimulated by all the activity that's just happened.
Absolutely.
So we can stimulate our puppies too, like that too.
Yeah.
And they lay awake, their brain's still working.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
how do you get the brain to turn off?
I will never do a big heavy duty exercise session right before I'm putting my puppy in the crate. Like that's just asking for trouble, right? I will do exercise stuff earlier in the day, exercise stuff earlier in the evening, even like, 6 o'clock is a good time to have a great tug session with the puppy, to have some play and settle games, to do some training, all of that stuff. That's a great time to do those things, right? Around their dinner hour, take their dinner ration, right? Like with Levon, he's got a ton of skills now, and it's all based on those 3 meals a day, plus capturing good behavior throughout the rest of the day. But those 3 meals a day are when I do the majority of my training. Right. So I take his kibble ration and we train with it. So he gets the repetition in with that kibble ration. So that would be reasonable for me to do at like 6 p.m. when he gets his dinner, because he's still on 3 meals a day. So he gets his dinner a little bit later. Ned eats a little bit earlier because he gets the early bird special. But yeah, so I will do all that stuff with his dinner. So he'll be eating and training. We'll have some tug sessions in there. We'll do some chase, some restraint recalls with a toy, that sort of thing. So that gets out the physical energy, right? As you were saying earlier, you said you're creating an athlete. The more you exercise your puppy, the more exercise they will need.
Yes.
Right? If we want to get in shape to run a marathon, what do?
We practice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We work out, and we work out incrementally harder as things get closer. Also think about that marathon. I haven't run a marathon, so I have to just assume that this is the case, but
I'm going to run one tomorrow, I think. Let's do it tomorrow.
Let's do
Put it on the schedule.
Let's do the big marathon.
Just do a marathon tomorrow.
Do it. So you would never finish running a marathon and then go to bed right away. Right. You can't.
Right.
You can't. You're adrenalized.
Right.
You're full of energy. You need to come down from that. You need the adrenaline to regulate. You need all of that stuff. So we want to do our really busy exercise earlier in the day.
Yes.
Earlier in the evening. And then we want to do calming things for the evening.
Right. Yes.
So I will do mental work in the evening. And I find that drains energy far better than physical exercise because it doesn't adrenalize the puppy first to do it. It just basically takes the edge off.
Yes.
And again, it's counterintuitive. People think, well, how are you going to tire out a puppy with mental exercise? But think about how you feel after an exam.
Right.
Think about how you feel after a really hard day at work. Like you're just done.
Right. Yes.
And
at night, many people will read in bed.
Yep.
Or they'll do crosswords in bed.
Yeah.
And that's a way just for your brain to drift off.
Exactly. Exactly. It's a way to sort of down regulate and calm and then be ready for sleep. So we can do the same thing with our puppies, right? We can have a little bit of a trick session in the evening. We can work on some of their skills, doing rule out games with them. That is anything that has self-control involvement, right? Anything that makes the puppy have to think and have to stop and not be impulsive is going to take energy out of them because they use a lot of energy to be able to do that. So you can play all those games and really help to calm the puppy down. I will then do things like bed stay work, right? Because that's really calming.
Yes.
Right. And I might have a chew there. I might be there to help the puppy hold the chew as my puppy's chewing it while they're on their bed. That's very calming. I might bring the puppy into my lap and let them have some of that chew while they're snuggling in my lap. Right. Again, that's very calming. So these rituals they're more about setting up the energy in the way that you want in that moment. Through the day, I want my puppy to be energized. Right, and when they're out and working with me through the day, I want my puppy to have that adrenaline and that rush and want to chase me and want to do recall games and all of that. At night, when they're ready to go to bed, I want them to be calm.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Even just think of, if you have young children at night, you're not going to be chasing them all around the house and giggling and having tickle fights.
Yeah. Good point.
Right. You're going to be trying to wind your kids down with some quiet activity, maybe getting them to color.
Yeah. Reading them a book in bed instead of having a pillow fight.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Perfect.
That's a good one. Pillow fight. Okay. Go to sleep.
Can you imagine?
Right, yes. Yeah.
Or here's an orange creamsicle drink for you with lots of sugar.
Yes. So we read them stories. We might play some music for them. you do quiet things.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah,
Exactly.
And puppies wind down the same way.
Yeah. And again, it is counterintuitive because we think we need to drain out that energy by doing copious amounts of physical efforts. And that is just shooting yourself in the foot.
Right.
Because now you're creating overstimulation and the puppy is going to be more wired than they were when you started your session. So, all right. Well, we have a couple of questions in the box. Do you want to start the first one this week?
Okay.
Perfect. Drum roll.
What is it going to be?
Hopefully it's big enough to read.
Yes, it is.
Excellent.
Got my puppy today and she isn't super into food. Luring is taking a while. She keeps stopping while I'm trying to lure her to dig at the collar and leash. Well, the first day you bring your puppy home, they need some time to decompress. Often, the first couple of days, the puppy's adjusting. So not to worry.
Yeah.
It's going to come, but sometimes we push our puppies too hard that first day. Keep your expectations low for the first day. Let that be just the puppy's adjustment time. Did you do that with Yvonne?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I'm trying to remember, how was he on his first day? He was pretty confident, actually. I was pleased with him right off the bat. When we left the breeder's place and we stayed in an Airbnb on our way home, we left the breeder's place and he screamed in my lap in the car for maybe 3 minutes.
You are a terrible driver, Shannon. That's why. No.
I wasn't driving at the time.
I screamed while Shannon drives too.
Somebody else was driving the car while I was riding with a puppy in my lap. I would never, ever. My dogs don't ride loose in the car often. Like, and when I bring home a puppy, I do tend to keep them in lap, but I also tend to have a crate available. Oh my gosh. I'm glad you made that joke because if people thought that I meant that I was driving with my puppy, my brand new puppy on my lap.
And he's looking out the window.
Someone's calling 911 on me right now. There's going to be a SWAT team bursting through the studio door any moment now. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So he screamed for maybe about 5 minutes and then he fell asleep on my lap and he was happy with that. And then when we got back to the Airbnb, he was very curious and was very into exploring. Ned, however, is a super confident, chill dog. Like there's not a lot that flaps that dog at all. But for the first 2 days that he was home, he barely ate. He was stressed. He was like, it took him a little bit of time to settle in. And that happens. They're all a little bit different.
Right.
It's interesting.
Yes.
I find myself wondering now why Ned had such a hard time because he really is an unflappable dog. But at any rate.
Yeah, each puppy's an individual.
Yeah,
yes.
They're all different.
The writer had also mentioned the dog keeps stopping to scratch at the collar and leash. And that's a new sensation too.
Absolutely.
Many breeders don't put a collar or a leash, on a puppy.
Yeah.
And it's like, remember when we first started wearing masks during COVID?
Yes.
It was new to us and we were everyone was playing with it around their ears, moving it around.
Yeah. Doing this all the time, pulling it away from your face.
Right.
Like trying to breathe. Yeah.
And that's how the puppy feels with the collar. So give your puppy some days to adjust. Take it slow and, in a few days you'll be able to, get all in there and do those things.
Get all up in that.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't panic if your puppy doesn't eat right away. Don't start offering them different things if your puppy doesn't eat right away. A lot of the times as humans, we're high stress and we go, oh my gosh, if I just get you to eat something, then everything will be okay. And so a lot of the times we have students that come in who have created a really picky puppy because the puppy has learned that if they don't like what's put in front of them there, if they just wait a minute, you'll offer them something different, something better, etc.
Right.
And they just get into the habit of waiting for things. So definitely just take a breath through those first couple of days. They need time to decompress. Right. Puppies are really amazing at the decompression. They usually are pretty quick.
Yes.
But there still is. Like their entire world has just changed, right?
Yes.
Everything they know, their litter mates, their first home, their mom, all of the things.
Right.
Whoever bred them that was taking care of them and socializing them and being like the safe person and all of that safety as well. Like this is what it really boils down to is the puppy feeling unsafe because they don't know what this new environment is.
Right.
And then after a day or so, sometimes after a couple of hours, depending on the puppy, they go, oh, okay, you know what? Nothing bad's happened.
Right.
This is kind of fun.
Yeah.
All right. I'll settle in here.
It
and
is,
life
they
is,
are amazing creatures.
aren't they?
Because if someone grabbed me and threw me into this whole new situation, like I would be.
Yeah. And think about it. Like everybody's speaking a different language. Everybody's like coming at you and touching you because everyone's obsessed with you because you're this new thing.
And
like
everything, there's no one that looks like me. Like if there's no other dogs in the home. It's like, well, everyone looks different than me. You're right. They're touching me. They're, maybe there's kids squealing over me.
Yeah. And you can't find the familiar faces that you knew.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it really is an amazing transition that they make usually so easily.
Yes.
But keep in mind that it can take time. And some dogs are more sensitive to it than others.
Right.
So even if you don't expect it, now I'm pondering. All righty. Whew. Next question.
Oh, you're getting the glasses on.
Oh, I can actually read this. Okay. Can dogs really be expected to go to the bathroom on command? ? How? ? I would not be able to do that! ! That's funny. I think probably if you needed to go in that moment and somebody said, hey, there's a toilet, there's an opportunity to go, you would go.
Right.
So, I mean, we're not taking dogs that don't need to go to the bathroom and saying go to the bathroom. We're taking dogs that we know do need to go to the bathroom, and we're giving them the opportunity to go to the bathroom. So yeah, absolutely. Every single one of my dogs has known, including Levon at 18 weeks old.
Right.
They all know how to go to the bathroom on command. And basically, it's not a hard thing to teach either. It's just an association. So we actually talked about this in a podcast episode recently, but I'll go over the steps quickly again. The first thing that I'm going to do is create the association, right? So that means my puppy is peeing and I'm doing something to associate that action with a word, which, because it's a word, I'm probably saying the word. I'm doing something. I'm dancing a jig to expect my puppy to associate going to the bathroom with the word. No, I'm just kidding. As my puppy's peeing, I'm going to be I use hurry up, not to rush the puppy. Somebody thought we were trying to rush the puppy with hurry up. It's just a phrase that I've gotten used to using. It could be
it could be slow down.
It could be slow
or it could be do not go to the bathroom.
It could be do not go to the bathroom. And then you could go out and you could be like, don't go to the bathroom. And your puppy goes to the bathroom right away. And everyone's like, what? Your puppy doesn't listen. You went to the bathroom and you said don't go to the bathroom. Anyways. So my puppy's peeing. I'm going to be saying, hurry up. Oh, bless you.
Thank you.
My puppy's peeing. I'm going to be saying, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. And then as soon as he stops peeing, I stop saying it. And I'm going to spend maybe, a week or so doing that, creating the association. And then once I've created the association, that association is strong. Right. And if I then, I know my puppy's going to need to go to the bathroom after sleeping, after eating, after coming out of their crate. So I'm taking my puppy straight outside. I'm putting him down. And now I'm going to use that associated word as a prompt. So I put him down. I say, hurry up. And of course, because he needs to go to the bathroom, he starts peeing. Right. So now he's associated that word with the prompt and I can make the behavior happen. So it actually happens quite quickly with them. It's not a hard process at all, I find.
Something similar that I think humans do is because when we're peeing, there's that trickling, tinkling noise. So our brain associates that trickling, tinkling noise with peeing.
You're right.
So sometimes when I'm leaving and I want to pee, but I can't, I'll turn my water faucet on.
Yeah.
And I sit, this might be too much information, but I feel we're all friends.
We're all friends here on the podcast.
Yes. So I'll sit on the toilet, turn on the water, and I hear the water coming out, and I can feel, my body is responding to that noise. And there I go.
Perfect.
Yes.
I love that.
So that's very similar,
Yeah.
except we're not turning on the faucet for the puppy. We are using a word.
Yeah.
And the puppy goes, oh, that word, I associate that with urinating.
Yeah. Absolutely.
One of my corgis, Iggy, was very well, could go to the bathroom anywhere on command. And in fact, she got to the point where I'd say, Iggy, I used to say to her, go bathroom. And she would squat and nothing would come out. And she'd just look at me. I did. She associated it was the squatting. And it was quite funny, actually, that she would go and you'd say, go bathroom. She'd stop and squat and then off she goes again. Yeah.
That is funny.
So I think she actually tried. I think she was like, try.
Bless her little heart.
Yeah. Iggy was a good girl.
Iggy was a good girl.
Yes.
I remember Iggy was one of the dogs you used to demo my first Life Skills 1 class when I had that Rottweiler way back when.
Yes.
Swanee was one of my head instructors
Right.
for Life
Yes.
Skills
Yes.
1.
Yes.
Back in
in the day.
1999.
Old timey.
Oh, we're vintage.
Vintage, yes.
Yeah.
Shannon
It
even
is.
used to wear a vintage
Anything-
bathing suit. Remember when you see women in the 1800s in their bathing suits? They're like, yeah. No, you're not quite that old.
Isn't it like a full-on suit
I think
from
it's
head
like
to tail that doesn't show any skin?
I think so, yeah. And then there's a bathing cap with like rubber flowers all over it.
There you go. Don't show any skin.
No.
Don't show any skin. Whatever you do, don't show the world your skin. All right.
It's me. It's
two
me.
more. Yeah. No resting.
No rest for the wicked.
That's right.
Can this work with the teenage phase dogs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
The nighttime routine.
Yeah.
Yes. Definitely. Yes. So same thing with your nighttime routine. You want to, get the physical stuff done earlier in the day, and you want to do the calming mental, getting rid of that mental energy at night. So definitely, come up with a routine at night that's going to help prepare your teenager for sleep as well.
Yeah. And the difference with a teenager is often that they have history. So it's often more about overriding habits that we've created that we don't like when they get into that stage of life. And this is where, hindsight is always 20/20, right? If we can think about what we need to predict for the future, we can create situations that are good for us all around. If we have situations where we haven't necessarily known what to predict and we've let bad behavior set in, then we just need to remember that it takes time to change those habits. It's much easier to create a behavior from scratch and maintain it than it is to replace a habit that is already in place. But having said that, the old adage about not teaching old dogs new tricks, absolutely false.
Not true, yes.
Absolutely false. And even if there is a habit in place, say your puppy is, say your dog is an 8-month-old dog and their habit at bedtime is to want to party and want to play because they've gotten used to being adrenalized. Say you're just now hearing for the first time that exercising them to the extreme at night is not the right answer. And they're used to that. So they're used to having this adrenaline rush late at night. You can change your routine. You absolutely can. It's not going to be seamless. It's not going to be easy as pie to transition to a new routine, but it's not going to be the hardest thing in the world either.
Right.
You just have to think about it from the dog's perspective. Think about it from your perspective. What are they used to, right? So they're used to having all this adrenaline rush going on late at night, so they're expecting that. So we need to make sure we still provide for the energy release. We might need to adjust how we're doing things. Maybe when we get home from work, we go right to work with the puppy and we get that adrenaline out at that point. And then that need is satisfied, right? And you can go into a calmer routine at night, maybe adopt your trick training or something of that nature, or your bed stay work, or just hanging out with the puppy.
Right, yes.
Depending on what kind of puppy you have or what kind of young dog you have, not all of them have a ton of energy.
Right.
If you got a bull mastiff pup, you probably only need to do 5 or 10 minutes of exercise a day. And then the rest of the time, they're probably going to be inclined to be a little bit more relaxed and calm, and of course there's always exceptions to the rules, but if you get a border collie puppy, you're going to need to expect that dog's going to have lots of energy and you're going to need to provide for that. But as we always talk about, getting the right breed for you is such a big piece of the puzzle and will help you avoid frustration. Right. Weekend warriors don't get working dogs. Right. If you are a weekend warrior who likes to do stuff on the weekends, but likes to put your feet up all week long after work and doesn't want to deal with a dog, don't get a dog that's going to have needs through the week,
right.
You can find the right breed to match your lifestyle and you will love that dog.
Yes.
2 pieces and probably not have very many frustrating days.
Right.
So,
definitely.
All right.
Last question
in the beautiful toolbox. Right. We love the toolbox, Diane. Diane's one of our instructors and makes all sorts of creative things. Yes. And she actually just made us, what did she just make us?
A little model of a pool.
Yeah. Because
McCann's, we now have a dock diving pool for dogs here on our property.
Yep. Opening soon to the public.
So if you're not familiar with dock diving, just Google it and you'll see what it is.
It's so fun.
Yep. And we are going to be starting that here.
So fun.
Yes.
All right. This one. Okay. I don't think this is going to make the puppy sleepy. We'll try it, but don't see that working at all. So again, this is where I say it's counterintuitive because our brains say if we want our dogs to be tired, we need to exercise them until they're tired. And again, if you think about if you did that with a toddler, right? If you took your toddler at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night when you were thinking of putting them down for bed and you ran around the house and had them chase you, or you chased them around the house, would you expect them to then be ready for a nap?
Right.
But we expect it from our dogs for some reason.
We do, yeah.
You know, I think that you're going to be pleasantly surprised, and I'm excited for you to actually be pleasantly surprised because we have this conversation with students all the time. You know, it's not a new thing to try to get on track for us at all.
And we keep our demeanor calm too. So I'm not going to be squealing and ruffling up the puppy. And, you know, I'm going to be very calm too. I want the dog to say, you know what, my leader is calm. Yeah. They're slowing down for the night. So I will follow suit.
Absolutely. You know what? I love the way you said that because our puppies are looking to us as leaders and as the means of the cueing system, right? We want to make sure that we give them good, concrete advice to follow. Yes. So we need to think about our own way of doing things. We need to think about guiding the puppy versus just allowing them to do things and then reacting. You know, there has not been a moment in Levon's life where I just go, okay, do your thing, make your own choices. That's not how things work in my house. It's not how things work at all. He's too young for that. It's like saying to a toddler, okay, do your own thing, make good choices. Right. Hope you do all right out there. It's not reasonable, but we expect that from our dogs. So set yourself up to lead and guide your puppy, and then they look to you for the routine versus you looking to them. Yes. And sometimes that means that you'll need to reach out for advice and get on a program, and we can help you with that as well. All right. On that note, I'm Instructor Shannon.
Instructor Swanee.
Happy training.
Happy sleeping.
The McCann Dogs Podcast is brought to you by McCann Professional Dog Trainers. We help dog owners to have a well-behaved, four-legged family member. Please give us a call at 905-659-1888 or visit us at mccanndogs.com. Happy training!